Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really cool concept, transforming a standard, forgettable hotel entryway into a completely memorable visual signature. We're looking at design ideas for a statement piece lobby aquarium. We're not talking about just dropping a fish tank in the corner. We're talking about designing a legitimate aquatic destination. Let's get right into it and explore the intersection of high-end hospitality design and aquatic engineering.
Okay, let's start by totally shifting our perspective. When most of us hear lobby aquarium, our minds instantly go to a clunky, bolted-on decoration. You know the one, that nostalgic but kind of underwhelming dentist office fish tank pushed against a wall, maybe complete with a bubbling plastic treasure chest, right? We need to leave that mindset behind. Instead, we have to treat the aquarium as foundational architectural infrastructure. When you treat a living ecosystem like actual architecture, it becomes this brilliant centerpiece that actively dictates the flow of the entire room. It works in perfect harmony with your sightlines, the ceiling height, the lighting design, and the overall guest journey. It ceases to be just a glass box of water and transforms into a vital structural element of the space itself. To pull off that kind of architectural integration, we have to map out the guest's physical and emotional journey through three key moments: the main entrance, the check-in desk, and lounge seating. Imagine a weary traveler walking through those front doors after a really long, stressful flight. That initial glimpse at the main entrance needs to be absolutely captivating. Then, as they move and stand at the check-in desk, how does their perspective shift? Does it offer a calming vibe during a potentially frustrating wait? And finally, when they collapse into plush lounge seating, can they comfortably observe the ecosystem at eye level? Designing for these specific, evolving viewpoints ensures the tank feels entirely intentional and perfectly orchestrated from every conceivable angle. So a crucial point in spatial planning is meticulously matching the tank's proportions to the physical reality of your lobby. High ceilings? You want a tall or panoramic design. Smaller footprints? Go wide and low. You have to maximize visibility without crowding the pathways. If you're blessed with soaring ceilings, you absolutely want to lean into a tall format tank or a massive panoramic setup. A towering water column draws the eye upward, making a grand space feel even more majestic. But on the flip side, if you're working with a smaller boutique footprint, that same towering tank might make the room feel claustrophobic. In that scenario, a wide, low aquarium is your best bet. It preserves the intimacy of the room and delivers massive visual impact, all while keeping your walking pathways totally comfortable and clear. Let's break down the three main design options to help pinpoint the right style for your specific space and budget. We've got the focal tank to anchor the room, the panoramic wall to visually expand the area, and the sculptural centerpiece, which uses curved corner or column integration. Think of the focal tank as the Mona Lisa of the room, a standalone, living piece of artwork that commands attention. Next is the panoramic wall, which is an incredible tool because it essentially creates a false horizon, making the whole space feel significantly larger than it actually is. Finally, for a true jaw-dropping statement, we have the sculptural centerpiece. This is where we get into serious engineering marvels, sweeping curved glass, dramatic corners, or my absolute favorite, wrapping a custom tank directly around a load-bearing architectural column to completely disguise it. I absolutely love this quote from our source material. The best style is the one that looks built in, not bolted on. It beautifully cuts right to the core of high-end design. Let's be honest. Guests navigating a lobby with 4 oversized bags of rolling luggage already feel like they're competing in an obstacle course. They definitely do not need an awkwardly protruding aquarium adding to the challenge. When an aquarium is meticulously built in, it feels inevitable. It feels like the hotel was quite literally constructed around this thriving ecosystem, rather than the tank just being squeezed into the floor plan right before opening day. Moving on to aesthetics, we have to consider the balance of warm, welcoming lobby lighting versus cooler underwater tones. Sensory layering is absolutely vital here, and lighting design is what will make or break this entire effect. You're constantly balancing two competing visual environments. On one hand, you have the warm, amber glow of your lobby lamps. On the other, you have the crisp, bright, aquatic blues radiating from inside the tank. Mastering this contrast is the real secret to a high-end look. You've got to incorporate smart, adjustable controls so that as the sun goes down, the tank's brightness dims proportionally. And targeted glare control ensures the aquarium remains a deeply calming presence rather than casting harsh, blinding reflections across the room during evening cocktail hour. And your brand identity shouldn't stop where the aquarium begins. You can use natural stone and dark metals for luxury and permanence, or lighter woods and brushed finishes for an airy, modern feel. The absolute pro move here is repeating architectural patterns from your reception counters. If your brand is all about timeless luxury, framing the tank in rich natural stone and heavy metals is the way to go. If your aesthetic is modern, sleek brushed finishes do the trick, but repeating those architectural patterns, that's a genius psychological trick. If your reception desk has a specific fluted oak paneling, repeating that exact same finish on the aquarium surround tricks the viewer's subconscious into perceiving the tank as deeply native to the building's DNA. Okay, so we've designed an absolute architectural masterpiece. But here's the big question. How do you actually maintain a vibrant ecosystem in a high-traffic lobby? How do you keep it thriving in a fast-paced, 24/7 hospitality environment without turning your elegant space into a messy construction zone every Tuesday morning? Well, that brings us to what we call the invisible engine, the rigorous logistical realities hiding just behind that beautifully polished glass.
A high-traffic area demands practical infrastructure integrated from day one. You have to balance operational necessities like concealed access panels, undisrupted service flow, and unblocked entrances with strict safety features like tempered glass specs, secure framing, and appropriate code barriers. Look, if a maintenance crew has to block the front doors with wet hoses and ladders just to clean the glass, the design has completely failed. You absolutely must have concealed access panels hidden in the millwork, so service operates entirely behind the scenes, and safety is completely non-negotiable. You're placing thousands of gallons of water in a public space. That means adhering to commercial tempered glass specifications, over-engineering the framing, and ensuring you have barriers that seamlessly align with rigorous local building codes.
Once those grueling safety and operational logistics are locked in, you can focus on maximizing guest interaction through plinths, interpretive elements, and comfortable lounge seating sightlines. You really want to encourage guests to actively interact with the space. You can use subtle wayfinding cues to gently direct foot traffic toward the display. Integrating comfortable lounge seating right in front of the tank creates a highly shareable, social media-worthy destination. You might even add a sleek display plinth or discreet educational elements about the marine life. It basically turns a chaotic transit area into a moment of zen for a stressed traveler, encouraging them to linger, relax, and truly connect with your brand. Of course, all the beautiful Italian marble and brilliant lighting in the world won't matter if your water is cloudy and your ecosystem is crashing. Long-term success relies on perfectly balancing your grand visual goals with the biological triad: tank volume, filtration strategy, and species compatibility. First, the tank volume has to be large enough to safely support the livestock you want. Second, a highly robust filtration strategy is an absolute necessity for crystal clear water. And third, species compatibility must be managed by actual experts. The most striking and durable aquariums in the hospitality world are always the ones that respect these delicate biological realities just as much as the architectural ones. This is why you literally cannot design the perfect lobby and then call the aquarium installation team as an afterthought. It'll be a total logistical nightmare. Early collaboration is vital to nail down tank placement, complex plumbing routes, lighting intensity, and equipment locations. Remember, water is incredibly heavy, and industrial filtration pumps vibrate and hum. Crucial decisions about structural support, routing plumbing lines through walls, and isolating that noisy equipment must be finalized in the very first stages of architectural drafting. This early integration is the absolute only way to support that reliable, invisible maintenance schedule we talked about earlier. By treating an aquarium as seamless architectural infrastructure, guided by thoughtful sightlines, cohesive brand materials, carefully layered lighting, and strict operational practicality, it ceases to be mere decoration. It transforms a standard, everyday entrance into a breathtaking experience. It becomes a true landmark that guests photograph, talk about with their friends, and eagerly return to year after year. So as you look at your own upcoming projects and consider the profound impact of those vital arrival moments, I leave you with this. How will you turn your next entryway into a living destination? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.